That's of course hard to see, but I imagine that our community will grow. It will grow in numbers. I think we will have more people in from Europe, but also from abroad. And I also see that we will have also more professions inside EMEUNET. We will have people aside of physicians and researchers, but also healthcare professionals. And I think that's probably the most important area where we'll be growing. But of course, I also want to stress that EMEUNET should be and always stay fun. So I hope that our community will always have this in the center of their attention.
The future of EMEUNET is a multidisciplinary platform of different professionals working together. I think the next challenge will be to engage other professionals apart from rheumatologists and researchers. I mean health professionals and any other professionals related to our field, to really work together to better shape the future of rheumatology. I think working with different backgrounds and different perspectives all together will help us to really achieve better and more ambitious goals for our organization.
I hope EMEUNET will maintain its position within the EULAR working groups in the coming years. Of course, I hope that all fellows and all researchers will have the opportunity to be introduced to EMEUNET, and that most of all will join EMEUNET. But besides networking, EMEUNET strives to promote education, and I think this is a very important mission of EMEUNET. Well, some members of EMEUNET have already started to work on establishing the core competences needed for a rheumatologist, and I hope that EMEUNET will soon be among the leaders in setting what are the standards for the education of a rheumatologist. Also, EMEUNET has established very important connections with the associations of other clinicians and other specialties, and importantly also with the Young Patients Association. I expect these connections to keep growing in the future and to broaden as well, and to maybe involve young professionals from other fields in science, so that we can share from each other, we can learn from each other's experience, and we can also develop new projects in order to ensure a very good quality healthcare for not only rheumatological patients, but also all patients in Europe.
For the future, what I would predict and I would hope is that EMEUNET grows even bigger, and this will be based obviously, and I think the organization has to focus on an even larger and more potent member recruitment. Of course, there are challenges in that, and I would say that mostly the focus over the next years will have to be more on people that deal with more basic and translational research on the one hand, and also another I think challenge would be to try and attract people and clinicians and clinical rheumatologists that are not so much focused on research, but rather do and carry a burden of clinical care, because these actually, we all know that they represent the main corpus of our specialty. So I think EMEUNET has to focus on the advantages and the selective advantages that becoming an EMEUNET member has to offer in order to attract all these various categories of people. For the future of EMEUNET, I would also like to see an even better extroversion and interaction with other young specialist organizations. And I think EMEUNET has been a pioneer in this regard since I think it was in EULAR 2016 that there was an initial meeting with other young specialty organizations like oncologists, allergy and gastroenterologists.
I do wish, and I honestly think that EMEUNET will continue to grow, and that EMEUNET will create a solid basis as organization in the worldwide rheumatology field. And therefore, I do think that it's essential that you become an EMEUNET member so that you can take part in this organization and become a better doctor and or a better researcher. So, and for the future, what I hope that we can disseminate that mission. We are now already seeking collaboration with other young and inspiring organizations. For instance, the pediatric rheumatology trainees, so that's Press Emerge, or the Young PANLAR organization, that's the Pan American Rheumatology Association. And by collaborating with each other, this facilitates, of course, learning from each other, and that you can also implement your successful ideas on both sides, that you can implement them on a larger scale.
Over the last years, being part of EMEUNET working group and leadership team, I've seen EMEUNET expanding with many new members from all over the world. We are organizing an impressive number of activities and providing several tools to our members. For example, the EMEUNET calendar, the monthly newsletter, the EMEUNET Euler Twitter journal club, and so on. At the same time, EMEUNET is very active on social media, and for all these reasons, I see EMEUNET in the future as the association that every rheumatologist and young researcher in rheumatology will want to join. At the same time, for personal reasons, being a researcher, I also hope to see EMEUNET in the future as the platform that will foster exchange of ideas among young researchers and help building the new generation of collaborative research groups in Europe and around the world.
The social media subgroup, it's a difficult one because we are all non-social media experts, but still we try to do the work of social media experts. So I hope that we can still grow and have extra abilities and lots of enthusiasm to make all this crazy shit we are doing right now, because we are making videos, we're spamming Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn and stuff like that. And it's all by volunteers, and it's amazing. And the way the world goes, I think it's impossible not to follow the flow, and we have to keep ourselves up to date with all new technologies. So I envisage more videos, more moving materials, but also maybe an app from EMEUNET and things like that. And I think that's the way how the social media will progress.
I think until now, from PMentoring subgroup, we have contributed to the aims, to the most important aims of EMEUNET that are promoting excellence in education and training, and also promoting the integration into EULAR of young rheumatologists and researchers. We have achieved these goals, or we have contributed to achieve these goals, because we organize different activities to put in contact mentees, young rheumatologists and researchers with senior experts and mentors in the field of rheumatology. I think the next step would be to really promote the development and acquisition of mentoring skills, how to mentoring the mentoring. Mentoring is a prominent aspect of our careers. It's absolutely important for research, for academia, and for clinics. And that's because by mentoring, the legacy of one generation pass to the coming one. And this is the natural process, and this is the way to go. But this is that important that it cannot be learned just by practice or just by experience. And more importantly, not all young rheumatologists and researchers have the same opportunities. So I think these skills need to be really acquired in having different activities to allow us to acquire such a skill. So I think the next step, and actually a big challenge for the PMentoring subgroup, will be to really develop activities and projects to promote the mentoring skills.
The country liaisons, just an introduction, are the representatives of EMEUNET in every country, and they are in charge of keeping connections with EMEUNET and spreading information about EMEUNET and also EULAR initiatives. Well, maintaining connections over time seems simple, but it might be quite challenging at times. We live all in different European countries. We work in different centers, and there are needs and issues which are different for the fellows and researchers in every country. Some countries are larger, they have very well-structured rheumatology associations, they have lots of members and lots of opportunities. Some other countries have a rather short history in rheumatology. Sometimes they do not have a young rheumatologist association, but they have very small associations of rheumatologists. I hope that with the help of EMEUNET and of the EMEUNET country liaisons, we will be able to overcome these differences, and that in every country there will be a group of young rheumatologists just very well connected with EMEUNET, very willing to collaborate with other rheumatologists and researchers from other countries in Europe, and very well connected also with the National Rheumatology Association. The main objectives are to grant all the researchers and fellows the same opportunities, so that everyone can have access to international fellowships, and all the researchers and clinicians will have the same high quality education throughout Europe.
If one would see the early newsletters back in the early days of EMEUNET, they would clearly see how nicely the newsletter story has evolved, and now how much more professional they have become in terms of stylistic issues and also content. Regarding the different themes of the issues, I think I don't see many differences there, because I think they are very, very well established. I mean, we have our press review accompanied by the journal club issues, which I think are very, very helpful for the rheumatology audience and for young rheumatologists. And also, we have these issues that are dedicated to the two big international congresses, the ACR and EULAR, which also, and they are the do not miss and the highlights. So I think I don't see reasons why one would change that, but I think we can, and there is still room to become even more professional. So to improve both the content and the output style, to make it even more looking like a formal journal. Another thing is that we will need to make an even closer collaboration with the social media subgroup, because I think now the trend is that people tend to look more for multimedia files, so videos, audio interviews, etc. So I think that in the future, the newsletter subgroup will be able to provide even more issues per year than the ones that are already available.
And for the education subgroup, well, I think that we also should seek collaboration with other young organizations. And now I'm going to mention the WIN initiative again. We already try to make young people, participants from Press Emerge enthusiastic for our WIN initiative, and that, for instance, the pediatric trainees, they highlight each month an article in our WIN initiative. And furthermore, what I would also like to do is that I would like to build stronger bridges between the clinical doctors and the researchers. And as an example, for now, I would like to highlight another project of EMEUNET, and that's the Ambassador Program. That is the program, for people who do not know that, that's the program that's most visible at EULAR. And in short, ambassadors, who are often EMEUNET working group members, are then coupled to 5 or 6 first-time attendees of EULAR, and those groups meet regularly during the EULAR Congress, and during such a meeting the participants then get information about which sessions they should visit, social activities. And what we would like to do now for next EULAR is that we hope that we can organize a sort of EMEUNET poster tour. But I also hope that it will create a bridge between the researcher on the one hand and the clinician who maybe would like to apply this new information from the poster in daily clinical care. So that's what I hope for the future, that for the education subgroup, that we start to collaborate more with other young organizations, but also between the clinicians and the researchers.
As leader of EMEUNET Visibility subgroup, I see our activities becoming at the same time easier and harder in the next few years. Easier because EMEUNET has already a huge visibility, having reached over 2,000 members and being recognized as part of EULA. Harder, on the other hand, because this will mean that we will have more responsibilities, for example, organizing networking events for a growing number of members. At the same time, another important task of our subgroup will be to maintain this level of visibility, particularly to keep attracting new members. In fact, all the activities of EMEUNET rely on the work of our working group members, rotating every 3 years, and it is essential that we keep attracting young rheumatologists and young researchers in rheumatology to join our working group for a wonderful 3 years journey. In fact, I think that one of the biggest challenges of any young association is the risk that the enthusiasm of the founding members might get lost over the years. However, in the case of EMEUNET, since we are now celebrating our 10th anniversary, so happy birthday EMEUNET, we can say that we do not risk for any loss of enthusiasm, and we can actually look forward towards our next 10 years.